Hi folks, thought it was time for another Beatles cover on this channel. I've done quite a few now. Always good fun. I think their songs translate quite well to instrumentals just because the quality of the melodies is so strong, and also the chords, and this is something that draws me to their music and always has done. They were quite experimental with chords, especially in the sort of second half of their Beatles career. Doing some really wacky things with chords, and this song is a good example of that. This is I Am The Walrus from the Magical Mystery Tour album. I've loved this song for years. I remember hearing Oasis did a cover of this. I remember hearing it when I was about 8 or something. And for a good few years I did actually think this was an Oasis song. I know better now, thankfully. And this kind of, I mean, John Lennon wrote this. I think it kind of shows a difference in approach between him and Paul McCartney in terms of chords. Both of them quite experimental, but perhaps Paul McCartney a bit more within the conventions. He listened a lot to kind of old style jazz and even classical music, and he brought a lot of that in. You can hear the influence in his music, whereas John Lennon was the more wacky one, who would just put chords together and break all of the rules, all the theory rules that people like me learn and care about. He would throw that out the window. And I think that's a valuable lesson to someone like myself, that sometimes it's good to forget the rules and just try things. I thought I would just briefly break down the chord progression of the song and just show you some of the kind of weird stuff that goes on. So it starts off in the, well, at least it feels like it's in the key of B major. We hear this B chord, and then straight in we go B to A to G to F, so it's going down a tone, like 2 frets at a time, almost like a kind of a whole tone scale sort of thing, and then lands on E. And when we land on E, it feels like, yeah, maybe that's actually the key is E, and that was all setting us up for E. But then we get E7, and then we get D, and then we get D7, and I mean D7. Everyone knows D7 resolves to G major, right? It's like standard perfect cadence. But no, then we go into this kind of blues riff in A. Very sort of Mixolydian sound. The C and D. And then in this sort of chromatic. The bass line's going A, G, F sharp, F natural, and then back to A. So very sort of bluesy, really. And then this run up to C. This is the see how they run like pigs from a gun or something. Crazy lyrics. D major, and then it lands on E. And it feels like we've gone to the key of E again. It never quite settles, although I would say overall it's the key of A. Never quite settles into being just that. It's always all over the place, given this kind of unsettling sound. It's fascinating stuff. And then the other thing to mention is at the end, there's this outro, and it's got this string part that's going in what we call contrary motion. So you have a lower part which is going down a scale, and an upper part which is going up a scale. And the lower part's going down an A natural minor scale. So that's A, G, F, E, D, C, B, A, and so on, and it repeats. The upper part's going up an A Dorian scale, right? So that's A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, and then A, and so on. So, you know, they start off in unison or octaves, 2 A's, that's really safe. Next one is third G and B. So that's a pleasant sound. F and C, so that's like a 5th, that's like a power chord. And then E and D, 7th, much more kind of tense. Next one, D with E above, so that's like a 9th. So that's similarly kind of tense. And then you get a C with the F sharp from that Dorian scale above. So that's like augmented 4th or diminished 5th, that's very unsettling. And then B and G, back to kind of 6th or 3rd kind of feel, and then back to the A octave. So it kind of takes us through this tension and release with every movement of the chord. It's very bizarre. So yeah, it's my kind of tune. I've done this one with my good pal Dan on bass. It's got a really funky bass line to it. And it's acoustic guitar. I just wanted the kind of percussive effect of the acoustic guitar. So I hope you enjoy it. Give us a thumbs up if you do. Subscribe if you don't already, and check out some of my other Beatles covers. I'll put some links in the description below. And here it is, I Am The Walrus. What?